Hey everyone, it's Evangeline right here at eTrailer.com. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Let's Go Aero ArcHaus enclosure with the tailgate connector, and we're going to talk about how it fits here on our 2023 Jeep Wrangler 4xe. The ArcHaus is going to be a large enclosure that secures to the rear of your Jeep. If you plan on, let's say, tailgating or setting up a campsite and you like to utilize your Jeep for that, this is going to be something that works with it to create that space, protect you from the sun, give you some privacy, and compared to other universal tents and awnings, this is going to have a little bit more of a structure to it. While this is a universal fit enclosure, when you use it with different vehicles and even campers, your fit is going to change. So some things I look for here on the Jeep is, can I fully open our door? Yes, I can. Where does it secure onto the Jeep? How easy is that attachment process? As well as how much space do I actually have with this vehicle? For some vehicles, because of how they're hatched or their bed is designed, they may lose out on useful space. But with our 10-foot long enclosure here, we have plenty of clearance where I can hang out behind the Jeep, I can sit down on some chairs, I can set up some coolers, and I have plenty of space for all of that. As for where you attach it to the Jeep, it was a little tricky to find some good spots, especially here with our best top soft top. And that's because for other vehicles, there might be a roof rack that you can secure to, or the side of the vehicle might have some spots that you can attach to straps. What I found was the best way to go about this is I brought the elastic opening up and over that roof. I also brought it around our wheel well, where it now is pretty secure there. The one thing I wish we had was a roof rack or a spot to put the buckle. So what I ended up doing was I put one side of the buckle into the door. This might be an option for you. You could also wrap that buckle around, let's say, your headrest on the inside of your Jeep, anything to get a little bit of tension, just to pull that elastic tailgate connector tight against the vehicle. The tailgate connector is an important piece because then it makes for a more flush experience between the ArcHaus and the Jeep. I do like how well the ArcHaus sits against our Jeep here. The height sits almost flush against our soft top, creating a nice streamlined look. And then we go around the side of the Jeep. Because of the layers of both the ArcHaus and the tailgate connector, we can prevent critters or birds from flying on in through the tent, and this gives us a more sealed experience. But if you do make some modifications to your Jeep, let's say you have a lifted Jeep or some larger wheels or larger wheel wells, you may see some gaps like this around the side of your connector. But you can also see that without that tailgate connector, how much more exposed your enclosure would be. That's the general gist of how it's going to fit on your Jeep. Now, your actual experience is going to be a little bit different depending on how you have your Jeep decked out. A good overview is that this will have that 10 feet length for space. It is going to sit 6 feet wide, and then you are going to have a height of 6.5 feet with the enclosure. This also has a door or a window, depending on if you have the mesh out or zipped up, and this will give more of a room feeling to the enclosure than an open space. This is also going to be modular, meaning you can purchase extra accessories to really change things up. You can use this with the screen room. I actually wouldn't recommend it as much because then you would have a little bit of fit issue with that swinging door. Another cool thing I've seen with the ArcHaus is people add on a second ArcHaus with the extension, and that will give you a really cool enclosure where you can store your gear, camp out, put your tents up, Create your own little campsite. This is going to be an entry-level enclosure where, without spending too much, you get a lot of structure, a lot of shade, and a lot of privacy with the ArcHaus. If you're curious about any of those other features, check out my full review here on our website of the Let's Go Aero ArcHaus. But today what we saw was how this fits here on the Jeep. I think it works great. I would recommend taking a look at that extension as well as planning ahead for how you would attach it with a tailgate connector. Today what we saw was the Let's Go Aero ArcHaus enclosure with a tailgate connector on the 2023 Jeep Wrangler 4xe. My name is Evangeline and I hope you enjoyed the journey.